Hi everyone, today we are going to present Archangel Michael and he is going to talk more about himself, explain who the archangels are, what they do, how they were created, where they are from, and pretty much everything about them. So I just wanted to share a disclaimer. Based on my channelings with him, he is very upfront with whatever he wishes to say. He doesn't put much filter in things, and I understand that some of you, and when I say some of you, I not only mean those who are present in this session today live, but also those who would be watching the video on YouTube, especially those who would be watching the video on YouTube. You may not always like what he has to say, and some of you may be either triggered or offended. So the disclaimer I want to put forth after having discussed with the Archangel himself is he's the one to ask, who said you should, because I was not very comfortable what he has to say. That if you do feel uncomfortable, offended, or triggered, please know that this is serving as a reflection to your shadows. So treat it as an opportunity to find what is creating the trigger or the feeling of offensiveness. That will allow you to go deep within as to which belief system is creating that and maybe release it. So whatever comes through is his opinion, it's not my opinion. So use your discretion, accept what resonates with you, and simply leave what doesn't. That's it. So with this, yeah, Leticia, you want to share how we are going to take today's questions?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Leticia. I'm the co-host here in the session. I'll be facilitating the questions right after the monologue. So the way we'll do is please post your question on the chat and I will ask your name and ask you to unmute yourself. And I will be posting as well a feedback form for you that are here to let us know how we can change or improve. I think that's all right, Moumita?
Yep. I think most of us are anyway on the Facebook group. You can share that one also so that whoever wishes to ask questions in our upcoming sessions, you can post it in the Facebook group. And I also share some of the personal transmissions I have with my guides there, including the Arcturians or Hod. So feel free to join and read those personal transmissions. Some of them are really good and eye-opening. So yeah, I will get started and I'll see you at the end.
Moumita, just want to ask you something. Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Just want you to just make myself as admin. I don't think you did that.
I did.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, I did.
All right, sounds good.
I did it the moment you joined. Aren't you able to see anything? I did make you. Okay, it says it hasn't. See now?
Oh, yes, I see. I am now. It says you are co-host now. Yes. Thank you.
I did it the moment you joined. I think it's because you were still not connected.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now it's working. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Sorry about that.
Greetings. We are Michael, and we know how curious you have been about us of late with all the things that is going on Earth. We felt it is better if we clear up a few things about us and our roles so that you can ask for our assistance in a much more effective way. As you know, we are or have been regarded as archangels because we have great authority over the angelic realms. We were not the first ones created by Source. We would like to begin by about the beginning of your universe first, so that you can have some idea where to place us in that concept. Each universe has a god of its own, so as to speak, meaning Source has miniature versions of themselves, and so are you. Everything is made of Source. Source also wanted to experience themselves as the universe, how it feels like to be a universe of its own. So the universe that you are in also has its own consciousness. Imagine the universe as a big container or a bubble, which has its own consciousness, which we are referring to as the God of the universe, so that you understand in your language. And now we are going to heavily draw examples and metaphors using the human body so that you can relate with how things are. When we say you are a part of Source and we are a part of Source, it literally means that we are different cells and organs in Source's body. So this universe is one of the organs of Source's body, so as to speak, and Source has infinite number of universe and hence organ within it. Within this universe, this organ, this universe has a specific theme it is experiencing because the Source wanted to experience itself in that way. Just like the organs in your body, the heart does some specific actions, the lungs do some different actions, the liver, the stomach, each have their own roles and actions, their own themes. Similarly, this universe has its own theme, and Source wanted to experience itself as that theme when it expressed itself as this universe. Thus, the consciousness of this universe or the God of this universe was created, who also wished to experience itself as to who it is, because only through that self-awareness is how Source gets to know who it is. Now, within this universe, there are many other organs within the body of this universe or the God of this universe. And your galaxy is one such organ, which is again living its own sub-theme. And Then within the galaxy, there is your solar system having its own theme. Similarly, you humans are also inhabiting on the planets which have their own themes, and you also have your own experience of source that you wish to have. In this scheme of things, we are the messengers that has full access from the top of the head of this universe's God to the bottom of the feet, because we are like the blood cells, using the metaphor of your body. We can go anywhere within the body of this universe's consciousness. And our purpose is sending messages to and fro, just like the blood does. What does the blood do? It carries nutrition, it carries excretion, it carries oxygen, it carries your immune system's mechanisms, and it has many other functions. It also carries your neurotransmitters, which are your emotions. And we are not going to go into more details, but you get the picture. It is similar to our so-called jobs, you could say. As angels, or rather as archangels, what we wish to experience is the overall perspective of all the systems and organs that exist within this universe and understand how they are doing, because your well-being is our well-being. This is how we express ourselves. This is what gives us joy. We transfer information from one part of the universe to the other. We give help whoever asks for help. We provide support. We also execute certain filtering actions to remove what is not required in the system. In other words, because we have full access to the entire universe and we can be wherever we wish to, it allows us to know a lot of things that not many of you even know or can think of. So this is a very broad theme. Now, each kind of archangel or in group of angels also have their own themes. For us, as Michael, our theme is broadly about bringing spiritual nourishment, hope, encouragement, courage, bravery, and a lot of you mistake us for justice. We have been depicted as humans with wings, with swords in our hand. We don't go around killing or judging people or other beings. It has been misinterpreted. And this is what happens when we are coming through channels or through books. Especially channels who have strong faith in Christianity tend to filter our message because of their own belief systems, which is why at this point we are coming through other channels to do our best to express who we truly are. We make sure that the system of this universe works, and we do whatever it takes to make it work. We know what is necessary and we know what is unnecessary. When it is unnecessary, we transfer what is unnecessary to the place where it becomes necessary. We are using a lot of metaphors because it is difficult to describe on the 15th dimensional level what actually we do. Our job is not as simplified as we spoke of. We are trying to simplify it so that humans are able to understand. So, what you refer as justice is our ability to take what does not belong somewhere and bring it to where it is meant to be. That is not a punishment or judgment or justice. It is how the system functions properly. Just like when you take medicines, it has to be distributed to the entire body, and only where it is meant to work, it will work. In the rest of the places, the medicine may cause havoc. So, as the blood cells of this universe, it is our job to scoop it clean, to remove what can poison the system or this universe or the god of this universe, whatever you wish to call it. Do not mistake that for any kind of harsh punitive actions. This is how your biology works. You excrete what your body doesn't need. Similarly, we excrete what the universe doesn't need. We also provide nourishment when it is needed, wherever it is needed, because we are the carriers. We have ears everywhere and we are listening everywhere so that whoever needs us can get help. That is our primary role, function, and why we were created. We are one of the 21 lights that was created when this universe, your universe, was created. So the angels, not the archangels, but the angels are the filtered down versions of the light that we are. And there are other lights which created the other structures of this universe. And you are also the filtered down version of those higher lights which created this universe. When we say light, it is not the light in your understanding, even though it is a very high frequency form of light. It cannot be explained or expressed in human terms because it has otherworldly presence in other dimensions, and it cannot be seen, measured, or perceived in any way in third dimension. You can see it in fifth dimension, which is what you can sometimes experience as multitude of colors you have never seen in the human realms when you are astral traveling. Not everybody can see it. Whoever has a specific reason or theme to see the light can see it. On some other day, we will talk about these 21 lights. We have helped humanity and other races, and even your animals and trees, whoever has asked for help. With that, we also realize there has been certain taboos and certain concepts associated with us, and those are not serving humans in a positive way. Hence, it becomes important for us to clarify those things in this manner. And we are also reaching out to other messengers of God to transmit the truth. It is only the truth that is going to set you free. So, our role as archangels, as we have said, is to make sure that the system is working fine and whoever needs help gets help from wherever they need to, thus acting as a messenger, a conduit, a transferer, and also the filter or the cleaner of the system. These words simply do not do justice to what we actually do, but for now, we are going to use this because of the limitations of language that humans have. So call us for help. Remember, we are not here to judge you, condemn you, hate you, or put you in hellfire, or deliver justice with our swords. That's not who we are. We are here to protect you from your own self by raising your vibration. So accept our love as it is, because in this dimension, we really don't need to punish anybody. And you will realize that when you have access to the fifth dimension, you will know there is no need for violence, there's no need for pain, anger, or any of the negative emotions that you experience. Everything is open, everything is accessible, everything is just as it is. And that's the most freedom loving way you can live, exactly the way you are. So we are not here on earth to condemn people or to do any of those negative associations some people have made about us. We are here to help you, to guide you, to nourish you, and to be what you regard as your best buddy. Treat us that way. Ask for help, use us, and that's what we wish for you to do with us. With that, we would like to take only questions about us in this session. We would answer other questions in some other sessions. With this request, we are now open for questions.
Thank you so much for this interaction and a lot of clarification too. Okay, I'm gonna start with James today. Please, James, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, it's really, really amazing to talk to you again today. I had a question on how you experience the human focus. So like if you interact with a human being in the third dimensional reality, what is your experience of that? For example, for us, because we're creating our own reality, we have the illusionary sense of physicality around us. But how would you, if you kind of come close to us, how would you experience us?
We see you exactly the way you are, which is an aspect of source, which is focused on a very specific, small, minute aspect of being source. Each one of you has a specific focus of all the parallel realities that you have. You have chosen to stay focused on one specific small one so as to fully experience yourself through that focus. And that is why you have densified into physical bodies to narrow that focus further and go much deeper within, just like you do with your macroscopic instruments. You zoom in to see the smallest of the small things. Similarly, you're using the physical body to experience the smallest of the small aspect of source, because everything is made of the source material. Because you have densified, you are experiencing the shadow side of source. Because remember, source also has shadows. Everything is source. The more denser beings are in their dimensions, be it the first dimension, second dimensions, or the third dimension, there would be more shadows in those dimensions because of the granularity of focus creates those shadows. The more you zoom out in your perspective by raising your awareness and ascending spiritually, you're shifting your focus from each layer, from third to fourth, fourth to fifth, fifth to sixth. You will experience less and less of the shadow side, because you cannot have or cast a shadow when you are not even solid. Only solid things can cast shadows. Does that answer your question?
So you would see us as an energy rather than the kind of humanoid shape, as it were.
Yes, you
Okay.
are to us as any other being. We don't see you differently. It's like each one of you have a unique energy signature, and we see you in that way. Unique energy signatures.
Right, right. What is your experience of polarity? How do you relate with the idea of polarity? I guess the question coming from the point of view of how you relate to, or how you discern at your level of existence.
In the 15th dimension, there is no polarity. The polarity stops existing beyond fourth. From the
Okay.
fifth dimension onwards, there is no polarity, because by being in that level of awareness, because each dimension, remember, is an expression of awareness. So when you are in that dimension, you realize everything is part of you, and you are part of everything. And if something is expressing itself, what you know as polarity, two opposite poles, those are two aspects of source wanting to experience who it is by reflecting the opposite into each other. So for us, it doesn't matter, because we don't experience polarity. We do understand what polarity is, and it is a natural part of the process in certain dimensions.
But you have preferences, right? Like over one decision over something else happening.
It would be difficult to put in human words what we actually mean or are, but we are going to make an attempt. In human terms, when you say preferences, it means if you prefer something, then there has to be something you don't prefer. Only in that way you understand your preferences, by reflection as to what you don't prefer. And that is the theme of humankind, this polarity, knowing itself by experiencing the opposite. This is your theme for all humans. But for us, there is no such thing as preference, because everything is our preference. There is nothing to reject. Remember, we are like the blood cell in terms of metaphor of God's body. If we started having preference, then we wouldn't be traveling in all parts of God's body, which means some parts would be ignored and they will be starving. So we are not, in your language, engineered to have any preference. We love everything. Having said that, we have frequencies as everything else. Everything else that is in the domain of existence is identified by its own individual unique frequency. So we also have our unique frequency. And because we have unique frequencies, we also flow into the system based on certain, let's just again use another metaphor, chemical actions. Like when there is a positive charge and a negative charge, chemicals will have a polarity and flow in a certain way because of what it is. So our movement across the universe can be induced by having certain, we don't have a word for that in human language, which allows us to know and get the signal that that is where we are needed right now at this moment, and that is where we need to be at this moment. So you could say that's not our preference. It's more about who we are.
Like a vibrational call in a sense.
Yes, it's like we cannot stop ourselves from responding to that signal because of our signature is attracted to that energy signature by default. We are instantly pulled in that direction. And we don't address one being or one need at a time. We can be in multiple places with multiple beings at the time, serving all of them. And it's because of our non-preference we are capable of doing so, because you could say our frequency is of neutral charge, so that anybody who sends a signal, we can respond to it. If we started having our own charges, then we would be repelled by some and attracted to some, instead of being attracted to serve everybody. Is it making sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it does. Yeah, thank you very much.
It takes a great deal of playing with your human words and metaphors to describe what we do. This is not even tip of the iceberg, and we still haven't done any justice to describe what we actually do, because there are no words in your human language to describe. So we are using the closest metaphor that we could find to give you some idea. So do not take it literally.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. I do have a couple more, but I'll leave them towards the end if there's time. Thank you very much indeed.
Sure.
Thank you, James. Joe here in the session, he posted a question for me to read. I'm just gonna ask you first. He's asking guidance in interpreting a dream. Should I go on and ask his question?
No, not today.
Okay.
We are
because-
not going to take any personal questions today. We are going to take questions about us because this is important for us to clarify today.
Okay, thank you so much for the clarification. Yes, I am gonna go ahead and ask Vincent. Would you like to unmute yourself, please, and ask your question?
Thank you. What do you relate as the fallen angels as recorded in the Bible?
Don't even get us started on that as to how misinterpreted that is. We could go on a rant or a vent in human terms. Some of our angels were very excited to experience the human perspective, how it feels like. Such angels were really sad to see how humans suffer. Lucifer was one such angel who had deep compassion for humanity. It did not like that humanity or an aspect of source chose to suffer this way in the 3D just to experience who it is. Even though Lucifer fully knew that this is how things are, he, out of his free volition, chose to experience what it feels like to be in the lower densities, and in doing so, helping the humans find a way to raise their vibrations. That was his original intention. And we fully understand and support that because he's also an aspect of source who chooses to experience things in this way. Out of his compassion, he densified himself on earth. And that is when he could experience what most humans experience as anger, fear, insecurity, jealousy, and all the emotions that he never felt when he was in his angelic form. But that is what he wished to experience. He couldn't handle it. He was shocked and taken aback. He was consumed by those emotions and realized this aspect of source being source. He did not forget what he came here for. That is where we are going to leave this story for now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vincent. That was one of my questions too. My first one. That was so interesting. I have a few questions to ask. I don't see any other question here in the chat. My second question was, why did Christianity or religions in general use angels and archangels so strongly in the books or holy books? And were they in a sort of more open communication with the angels at that point?
Because we are the first responders. We always respond to whoever needs help, like we said, because that's our signature vibration. Whoever will need help, even if they don't ask, we will be magnetically attracted to them and give them the vibration that they need to sustain themselves. So most humans received help from us in this form. That's why they know us and can connect with us more easily than any other aspect of other beings.
How did they know that they were the archangels or angels, or instead of just a spiritual guide?
Because we reveal ourselves.
Okay.
Why would we hide that? There is no reason for us to lie, hide, cheat, or do all such things.
Yeah. Another question. Are you archangels evolving in any sort of way? Is there some sort of evolution?
Every aspect of source is always evolving, and there is no end to the evolution. There is infinite evolution. So just like you are evolving, we are also evolving. Everything is evolving. There is no end to it. Change is the only constant.
Thank you. Yes, I wonder how that happens. So, for example, you are Archangel Michael, so eventually someone else will come on your place and be Archangel Michael, and you will be something else. Is that how it evolves?
Give us a moment to draw on some metaphors this channel has so that we can translate the message in a better way. Let us use a very simplistic, rather oversimplistic metaphor, because we cannot really explain the change of states for us where we are. So we are going to use the most simplistic one. This still doesn't do any justice to what actually happens, but it will do for now. Just like an ice cube can be melted into water, and when you heat it up further, the water becomes water vapor. So in each of this state, being solid is a state, being liquid is a state, being gaseous is a state in your human terms. It is still water, but in different states. Hence, the use changes because the state changes. Ice is used for cooling something, but once it becomes water, it may partially serve that function too, because in some parts water can be cold, but water can also be heated. And hence it is capable of serving other functions that the ice cube was not capable of functioning. And because of how fluid water is, it can do more things than an ice cube. Similarly, when the water is further heated, it becomes gaseous vapor, which is lighter than water. Now it has earned a different capability than what it was. It has become even more fluid and it can do different things, yet not the things that the ice cube and water can do. Using the same metaphor, this applies to all of us and you. Right now, whichever state we are in allows us to function in a specific way. When we evolve, we move to a different state that we cannot describe in human language. And that enables us to perform certain other functions, which is not same as what we do now. And coming back to your question as to when we evolve, what happens, remember, we are a collective. We are not one being. Just like one person cannot run a huge company, similarly, one Michael cannot run this huge universe. Just like people come and go in a company while the CEO remains the same, similarly, in this universe, the universal God is the CEO who remains where it is. And angels, new angels come, and the ones who have evolved move to a different function or a different state. Sometimes they can also choose to move to a different universe if they wish. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes, it was a very good way to visualize and to understand the difference, in types of activities or duties. But so following up with this thinking, is it right to say, or is that a misunderstanding? Is there hierarchy in the angelic kingdom? So is there like we go higher in the ladder, or
what
different?
you understand as hierarchy in human terms is referred to as group consciousness. So it is more like the larger the collective, the bigger its influence. There is no hierarchy in the sense, it's just as, again, we are going to use a metaphor of your body. There are no hierarchies in the body. You have majestified the brain as if something is important than the rest of the body. You humans have a tendency to edify things beyond proportions. But really, all parts of the body has its own functions. So let's pick an organ like the heart. The cells make up the heart. Does not make the heart as higher than the cell, because the heart cannot exist without the individual cells. It's just that the heart has these many number of cells making it up. So archangels are like that. We are a bigger collective or more number of angels, which allows us to function more powerfully than the smaller collective of angels. It's just that there is no hierarchy. Our functions are different and each collective is important.
Very great analogy. Very good. Thank you so much. I think, James, you have another question, right? Would you like to unmute yourself, please?
Yeah, thank you. I would like to ask something about free will. So do angels or archangels have a kind of code, in a sense, in terms of how to deal and when to do things, or how far they can go when assisting us to avoid circumventing free will? I ask this because other ETs interacting with our society at the moment have communicated that they're being careful to avoid infringing our free will due to past experiences with the Anunnaki visits to our planet. And I just wondered how you view free will in terms of your interactions with us.
Let us clarify a few words and terms that we are going to use and the words that you used, because like we said, we have been misinterpreted so much. We are careful around the words we use, and we use as many metaphors and explanations possible to explain each one of those. And there are still chances that it will get misinterpreted, but we'll do our best. So free will in the human terms means you are able to do anything that you wish to at any point of time, correct?
Yeah, within the confines of our existence. Yeah.
There are no confines of existence. Free will is free will. You
Okay.
should be able to do whatever we wish to do. Now, given that you as humans want to focus on a very limited aspect of source, you from a soul and a higher soul level do not wish to explore the other aspects of source available to you. You can if you wish to. And this is where, because you have densified and things are heavy and dense and it takes time to react and operate, you can create this impression that you don't have free will to change instantly things that you don't like because of the density. It takes time to manifest. Hence, this concept of not having free will is something you experience, but that's just a perspective in the third dimension. Once you become one with the soul's perspective, you will know that everything that you did or is accessible to you is within your reach and you desire to do so. There is no lack of free will. Having said that, we are having a specific vibration, and it is, to use your scientific terms, physical and chemical properties of us being that specific vibration that allows us to do whatever we need to do, respond to whatever we need to do whenever it is required. Because we know that we have free will, there is nothing taking things away from us or making us do something we don't like. Like we said, we don't have preference. We like everything. Just like you are made of love, we are also made of love. So whenever somebody asks for help, we help lovingly. There is no lack of love. Hence, there is no experience of duality or things we don't like. There is only love and there is only like. Is it making sense?
Yeah, no, it is. But I guess, though, some people might be able to hear your thoughts and that would be translated in maybe in terms of a voice that they would hear within themselves from you, translated by them, of course. But I wondered if you assisting somebody might sort of sway their decision-making process and if that's okay.
We don't sway somebody's decision-making process because we simply cannot do anything against anybody's permission.
Okay.
Every being's soul knows that. That is like a rule of this universe or any other universe per se. So it's like if there is a positive electrical charge and the soul knows it needs help, it will create thoughts, feelings, and emotions or words in that person that creates a negative electrical charge. That is a signal for us to come in to change this vibration. We are explaining it chemically and technically and scientifically to give you some idea that this is the nature of things. These are physical, chemical reactions. So if a soul needs help, it will automatically become that vibration of asking help. And by becoming that vibration, we'll be automatically just pulled into it. So that cannot happen without the permission of the soul. Is it making sense?
Absolutely. It makes perfect sense. Thank you. Thank you.
If the soul doesn't need help, it will stay in neutral charge. It will not become negative so that the positive gets attracted to them.
Yeah,
We are
absolutely.
using electrical charges to give you an idea that this is an automatic process. It is not volitional. It is automatic. Just like the chemical reactions in your bodies are created by electrical charges, it is automatic reactions. This is the closest metaphor we can give you. So our so-called interference is not interference. You asked for us by becoming that vibration, so we came. Otherwise, we wouldn't have come. So
Yeah.
I'm not interfering in your life.
No. I really understand, and you put it really clearly when you said it's already agreed at the soul level. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, James. I know, Vincent, you have another question. Would you like to mute yourself and ask the question, please?
Thank you. When you talk about helping a person, is that the same methodology you use to say help a collective, whether it's humanity
Yes.
or the Arcturians or
Yes.
Andromedans or whatever?
Yes. These are vibrational reactions, just like you understand chemical reactions in the bodies, where certain charges create the sense of motion. Similarly, whenever a collective needs a help, they become a specific vibration which attracts us, because by nature, we will always be attracted to that specific vibration. And this is something all the souls know, be it Arcturian or a human, at a soul level consciousness. So the soul knows when to call for help by becoming that vibration. It is programmed in it, so as to speak.
So how do you help a collective?
Can you give us some example? Which collective you mean? Because
Well,
each collective
typically,
is different.
typically in humans, where you've got maybe countries, for example, America seems to be in total turmoil at the moment with presidents and all sorts of things. How do you assist them? Have they called for your help?
When we are helping the collective, we are not helping it as a whole. We are reaching to individual cells, which means every individual, because by helping the individual, the collective is helped, because the collective is made out of the individual. Is it making sense?
Yep. Yep, that makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Vincent. I have a couple more questions here. I just want to touch base the time. It's been about 1 hour in the meeting. And we
would like to take a specific question from the Facebook group that we are aware of, which asks more about us. Could you please read that to us?
Yes. All right. So that question comes from Anita. So she's asking if religion is mostly crap that is meant to control us. What is truth? Archangels really do exist. Great.
Let's take one question at a time. Those are many questions.
They are, yeah.
So religion, the concept of religion came from the time of Anunnaki, when they wanted to control the humans, and that was the only way to control, and that idea has propagated. What is true is all of you are free, all of you are made of source, you are source, and you are experiencing a specific aspect of source in your own way, because source wanted to, you wanted to. So whatever you experience is what source experienced. It's just that. What's the next question?
Yes. And she says, archangels, angels really do exist, great. What is their true mission and purpose?
We already explained this at the beginning. Our purpose is to help and assist whoever asks for it, because that is who we are. We are messengers, like the blood cells in God's body. That's our job. We are engineered that way. And this is who we are and what we are, and we love it.
Okay, the next part is, she said, I would like the real story. Many of us were cornered and tricked into religion, or had it beat into us. Many obviously turned away from it all and call it all BS. Shit. Archangels exist. Cool. What and who actually truly exists from the Bible and religions?
In terms of the angels or God, or what is about the
Yeah,
Bible that they are asking?
I think she meant like because we feel tricked by religion, it's hard to even believe in the Bible what is really true in the Bible and what it's just made up.
Bible is a symbology which can be made into various interpretations. Each channel will have their own interpretations as to what things the Bible meant. This channel will have its own interpretation. So that is just an explanation of how humans came to be, which has been severely misinterpreted by religion, not just by Christianity, but also other religion. And we understand this is going to offend a lot of you who are cultured into it, which is why don't feel that religion has beaten things into you. Maybe in your childhood, yes, when you did not know what to do about it. But now as adults, make conscious decisions as to whether you choose to believe or continue believing those things or not. That is a discretion you can develop now, which you may not have had in the past. That is all we are going to say at this point of time about the Bible. Some other time we will go into much more depth, but not today. What were the other questions?
I think she just goes on here asking more about the Bible. She says, what is their mission and purpose? A huge question that would take forever to answer, but this is how this rolls out for me. I would like the framework explained to me, the true history, if you will.
True history of what?
And I think basically she didn't really explain here the true history of what, but I feel like the true history of like the angels interacting that we hear on the Bible, what it's really truth and what it's not.
Most beings will use the Bible as reference because it allows you to assimilate information that way with what you already know. We will not do such things. We will not endorse things that does not speak our truth, whether you like it or not. That is all we are going to say at this point of time.
Thank you. Let me see if there is any more question here. I mean, in the Facebook, there was the question regarding, the theme today. There is another question from Melinda. She says, here on Earth, we are faced with limiting beliefs, polarity, emotions. Our task is to integrate and expand through it. But all you higher dimensional beings have your wise answers and advices for us. That means you all have overcome our type of challenges. So I would be curious to know what kind of challenges you have. What is the meaning of existence for you?
That is a great question. So we never had to experience what you experience because you are already doing that. So we don't need to. We are piggybacking on your experience to learn whatever we need to learn. Our choice to experience our reality comes from the perspective we want to experience, being the messenger aspect of source. So the kind of challenges we face are different. We can give one example, like most of you do, though it's not technically a challenge for us per se, but that is the closest representation of what you regard as challenge for us. So when you are asking for help by becoming that vibration that we cannot resist being attracted to, we do give you our energies to help you with whatever you have requested for. And then you don't assimilate that, you spit it out. And then you are calling for help again without assimilating what we have already given. And you keep doing that. Now, source is infinite, so is our reserves. It doesn't matter to us because we are infinitely patient. You could say this is one of our challenge, though we do not experience any negativity around it. We just wish to say that we will help you as many number of times you wish, but it would help you if you take it the first time instead of simply ignoring it or rejecting it. There are many other different kinds of challenges that you may not be able to relate with because they don't happen in your dimensions. Again, those are not challenges per se because we do not have that perspective, so as to speak. Our evolution is mostly about increasing our awareness beyond this universe and assimilating how other universes work and how we fit into the grand scheme of things. And by expanding our awareness, we are able to do so, which is why the evolution of archangels happened. So the collective of Michael keeps having new employees, you could say. The ones which has ascended moves to a different state, like we said with the example of ice cube water and water vapor.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions of my own. It's following up what you just said. Would you please give us some specific ways that angels or archangels help humans?
We help with whatever you wish. There is
Meaning,
no specificity.
right, like not the theme exactly, but like how, for example, do you give us an inspiration or do you send the person to help us, like physically? Can you materialize yourself physically temporarily to help us out in a situation? Like those
It
are things
depends
like
on what kind of help has been asked. Like we said, we see you as frequencies. So when you are requesting for a specific kind of help and a specific degree of help, you become that vibration. If we had to see you, humans, you look like frequencies. So you become a specific frequency that allows us to give only as much as you need. your requests, if we have to explain in technological terms on your planet, is like, you are in this state, you wish to become this state. You are in this vibration, you wish to become this vibration. So we come and give you what you need to become this vibration. And then you throw it out and then again ask for the same thing. Now, when you become a specific vibration, it means in your human terms, some people are asking us for money, some people are asking for protection, some people are asking for so many other things that we cannot even describe. So in each case, when they are asking a request, they are also sending us messages as to what they wish to do with that request. In other words, when they are placing the request, they are of a specific frequency, which allows us to understand what the request is. And they also have the input of the frequency they wish to become. So we give exactly what they are asking for so that they can become that. It's up to them whether they are going to accept that energy that we are giving or reject it.
Great. Are the requests, do they need to be conscious necessarily? Meaning, like, do I have to, make a prayer or actually really designate maybe an
Yes,
archangel?
you have to ask us consciously. Though on a soul contract level, some of you may have had contracts with us to assist and guide you for some time in your life, and that need not be unconscious. But in the conscious level, if you need help, you need to ask us silently in your head or loudly. It has to be explicit, which is why we always say, call for help. Be explicit exactly what you want. Even thinking about it will call us.
So in resume, there is nothing that will not be attended. Every ask, every
Yes.
wish will come, the help will come but in a form
Yes.
that sometimes we don't recognize, or in a form that we throw it away. I'm trying to see how we can prevent that to happen.
So when the reason most humans throw away our requests or our energies that we have sent to become the vibration that they requested for is your belief systems, because they are at a subconscious level. Even if consciously you're asking for money, say for example, and you have a limiting belief saying that, oh, money will make me evil and hence I don't want money, then you have conflicts within you and you're not aware of that belief. So even if we give the vibration and we are continuously giving the vibration, you are silently and unconsciously rejecting it. Automatically, you're rejecting it. It's not even a conscious process, which is why we ask you to become aware of your limiting beliefs, become aware of your subconscious patterns, release your traumas so that you stop rejecting the help you're getting subconsciously, because you are the one suffering. We have nothing to lose. We will help you as many times as you ask.
So I could ask the angels or the archangels then to help me become aware of my negative beliefs. Would that be something that archangels could help?
Yes. And you have to also become aware whether you have any other beliefs which makes you feel that, no, I don't need to become aware of my negative beliefs, because that belief will reject the help that we are going to give. Which is why this is a conscious process, which is why we constantly ask you to become aware of yourself, why you are operating in this way, why are you in the bad mood today. Become aware of every thought, every emotion that you are having, because that is how you raise your consciousness, your awareness. That is how you ascend. Most people are like, oh, I don't want to think so much. That is where the problem is. You are digging your own grave.
Thank you. Now, my other question was relating to, are there any beings or group of beings that are closely working with the archangels? For example, the elementals, or is there like any kingdom or closer to the archangels? Or do you guys just work with that?
In which sense?
In the sense that they are more maybe connected to the archangels, or maybe more aware, and that way they work more synchronistically with the archangels, maybe Gaia or something.
All beings above fifth dimension are aware of us, so they take our help, but we usually don't need anybody's help in that sense, or feel the need to collaborate unless it is required for some specific purpose. Just like your blood streams can carry certain information from one place to the other if the need be, if there is a presence of such thing. Similarly, if it is required, we will do it. But most often we don't feel the need to.
Okay, thank you so much. I know Vincent have one more question. Would you like to unmute yourself, please?
Thank you. You say that we're all made of love. How does that appear to you as compared to the human one, which is fairly, well, physical for something to call it? We love an object. We love feeling a certain way. When you say we're made of love, what does that actually mean? Is it an energy, a consciousness?
Frequency of love. Love has a very specific frequency. So when we say you're made of love, you're expressing a specific frequency of love. And there are many, many varieties of frequencies of love, but essentially it's just that, love. Just like you have variations of the color red. There is light red, there is dark red, there is this red, there is that red. There are like huge variations of the color red, but everything is red nevertheless, but still a different variation.
Yep. So is frequency then, is that a consciousness? I mean, when you talk about source, for example, and you're part of source as we are, how does that frequency, is that the consciousness we're talking about? Is there a differentiation or an association with that concept?
Every frequency is a differentiation, otherwise you wouldn't exist. If your frequency and our frequency were the same, there is no reason for us to have separate existence. We'll become one. It will be a chemical reaction and we'll become one. So if something is separate on its own, means there is even a slightest difference in these two frequencies, even if they look absolutely the same.
So is that a consciousness? Would you call that consciousness?
Everything is consciousness. What is not consciousness?
Yeah, but is that frequency? I'm just sort of trying to link consciousness and frequency together there.
Define your understanding of consciousness, because for us, everything is consciousness.
Oh, right. So I suppose in the human sense, consciousness for me is thought. What I think is my version of consciousness, certainly three-dimensional. Is that going to change when we say move to 4 or 5 dimension, for example?
So let us explain in this way. Consciousness is self-awareness, and you can exist only if you are self-aware. Let us explain a few things, a few key concepts here. You know consciousness as only thought, but there is more to that. Even a rock has its consciousness, even a paper has its consciousness, even trees have their consciousness. Now, to what degree are they conscious about their own existence is what differentiates their frequency. So let's just give you example of existence and non-existence. Source has many states, just like we gave the metaphor of solid, liquid, and gas. Similarly, source has states, out of which two that we are talking about is non-existence and existence. These two are different things. Non-existence has pretty much everything in it, but they are all one. There's no difference in frequency. Everything is same, and hence there is no individual existence. Everything is together, and that's why it gives a feeling of nothingness, that there is nothing, hence non-existence. The moment there is a differentiation from that, it is when something becomes existing, meaning they become the state of existence. Existence, by definition, means consciousness. You cannot exist if you are not aware that you exist. Now, to what degree are you aware that you exist? So a stone's consciousness about its existence will be very different and limited as compared to yours. Your degree of awareness about your existence will be much limited than our understanding of consciousness. And ours will be much more limited than source's level of consciousness. So every frequency that exists or is in a state of existence has certain degree of consciousness. Now, knowing this, how would you frame your question now?
Sorry, I missed that. I had a break in transmission from the internet.
All right.
That's all for the moment. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Maybe we can catch up in the recording. So regarding the explanation you're giving about non-existent existence, so is it right to say that non-existence holds existence?
No,
No.
no. They are two different states.
Okay.
Doesn't hold one another. If you exist eternally. You cannot go back into non-existence, which is why we said that it is difficult to express these states in human language.
Yeah. Okay, and my other question here is, like, I asked this in another session, and maybe this session we can have it answered. Who is Archangel Metatron?
Again, we are going to use metaphors to explain. Let us find a metaphor that would help explain this. Give us a moment. So, to use a metaphor of human bodies, the red blood cells are produced by your bone marrow. We don't know if you know that or not, but we are explaining it. So the red blood cells come from the bone marrow. Similarly, all the other archangels come from Metatron. That's the only metaphor we can think of to explain what it is. Does that help you understand?
Yes, so it's basically kind of like creating the cells.
Yes.
Okay. Huh, interesting. And so there are different archangels for different, like, specific maybe themes, I would say, right? Would you say that it is important, or does it make any difference when we know the names and what they do and call
No,
for help? Okay,
no, you don't need to know
okay,
the calling language that is configured in your soul. You just have to become the vibration by asking for what you need, and whoever needs to come will come.
okay. So like the learning of the types of archangels and all of that will not
No,
actually
no,
increase power or something like
no.
that.
That
Okay.
actually creates hindrances because most of you do not know what each archangel does. And most of it is not describable anyway. And sometimes our domains also overlap. And it is very fine differences in that overlap. Hence, when you specify a specific archangel and you have a request that the angel cannot meet, you are not helping yourself
Yeah.
because you are asking the wrong person for help. So it's best to not name us, rather place the request and let whoever matches that request come, because they would be the best fit. So don't have to think and riddle your mind with so many unnecessary details unless you are doing some specific ritual. Even in that case, you have to have very deep and specific knowledge about our frequencies and what we do and understand the overlaps. That is why even in case of rituals, most of you do not have that effectiveness because you're calling the wrong person.
Yeah, would you suggest any specific source of information to learn about angels if someone wish to?
There is a thesaurus of angels which used to be with the Jews, but it is not there with them anymore. It is accessible to only those who are keeping and maintaining that thesaurus of angels. So you may not have access to that. That is the closest and most accurate representations of us angels. So we would again urge you to not try to figure out who is for what. Simply say, archangels, we need help, and whoever is the right fit for my request may come. That's it. And forget about it. Let us do our job.
Thank you. That sounds great. James, would you like to ask your question, please?
Yeah, thank you. Going back to what you were saying about Metatron and something you said at the beginning where you're sort of at the head of the universe, as it were, and can sort of interact with all parts of that particular body, if you like. Would it be accurate to say that Metatron sits outside of the universe and
No,
no?
Metatron is the bone structure of the universe, again,
Oh,
using
okay.
metaphors. Because
Are
remember, we said we come from the bone marrow, which is inside the bone.
of course, yeah. Are there any other beings that are similar to yourselves that kind of perform a similar role, but to multiple universes, a level up from an individual one?
That is a very good question. This is our next stage of evolution, where we become the messengers across universes instead of within universe when we evolve.
Hmm.
Now we
Would
are, with our evolution, we don't need to stay restricted within this universe. Then we get out of it and become part of the greater whole. We integrate as a part of the greater whole. So in a sense, we still remain messengers, but our job is upgraded now. Is it making sense?
Yeah, is there a specific kind of name within humanity that could perhaps be given to that level of consciousness?
You mean when we become the messengers outside the universe, acting
Yeah,
like blood cells for
yeah,
the greater system?
yeah.
It is a specific vibration. We are not sure if the channel will be able to pronounce or any humans would be able to pronounce it. So we are not going to use that for now.
Okay, okay. And on my final question, the violet flame is something that is being taught as a sort of higher dimensional healing modality. Is that something that is sort of the angelic realm? Because it involves calling upon
What
various.
violet flame, could you describe it to us?
So one goes through a process of visualizing a 5-pointed star, calling in various presences such as Archangel Zadkiel, Zafkiel, being an entity called Lady Portia, something called the Violet Robe, and I think one or two other archangels. I can't remember, but possibly even Archangel Michael yourself as well. And then you basically just speak the violet flame and give it the intention, and it's being taught as a sort of extra dimensional healing modality, as a way to send healing to circumstances or things or people. I wondered where, if that originates from the angelic realm, because it seems to have a lot of angelic consciousness within it.
There are many different kinds of light, like we spoke of, which created your universe. What you are talking about is one of the trickled down version of light, which you refer to as violet flame. It is a consciousness of its own. It's kind of like a beacon if you wish to call upon very specific angels. Most of the time, you don't need a violet flame to call upon us. If you become the vibration, we respond anyway. But for certain purposes, when you need to perform something specific, that's when you may use the violet flame, but it is not required.
Okay, thank you very much.
Let me see. I don't think, Vincent, you have another question. Would you like to ask your question, please?
Thank you. Do you have archangels outside the universe that help you, just like you're helping us?
The archangels outside the universe helps the universe, not us specifically, because we are contained within the universe. When we need help, or in your human words, servicing, we go to Metatron.
So who helps Megatron?
That is Metatron, not Megatron.
So so he has help. I mean, if the universe is infinite, right back to source, does that mean there's all levels of help right back to source, regardless of who it is?
Every being has help, just like you have your spirit guides. Similarly, we have our guides. most of them originate from Metatron, and Metatron will have their own guides. Your God, your universal God, the God of this universe that you're part of, will have their guides. So there is always help one level above. And this goes on to infinity.
So how do you interact? And this is probably not a religious question, but how do you interact? You just mentioned the God of this universe. How do you interact with that entity, consciousness, whatever?
Let's look for some right metaphors again. Let's just say that this body is the God operating as one unit of consciousness. Now, if there is a pinching or a hurt in this part of the body, will the entire consciousness as a whole know that there is some problem here? A question that we are asking you.
Oh,
Say,
probably not. Yeah, sorry, probably not. No.
so if somebody pats you on the back, you will not know somebody patted you on the back.
Well, it'd register somewhere. I mean, my big toe wouldn't know it got patted on the back, I suppose.
But you as a consciousness, your consciousness, you would know something
Yeah,
that is going on in the body.
yes,
So now, if you were Source, the God of this universe, like we said, the entire universe is the God's body. So when we are in trouble or we need help, it will be registered as pain to the universal consciousness, and they are going to do something about it. They cannot ignore it because we are part of them. If we are in pain, they are in pain. So if your hand is hurting or you stubbed your toe, I mean, even you have the other parts of the body functioning perfectly fine, but you'll still feel the pain and you'll still be limping.
yes,
That's the same. So you are going to do something for the toe, right?
yep, yep.
That's what the universal God is going to do for us. It is very organic.
Yep. I suppose I'm just trying to tease out some of the concepts that we've been given because they are fairly limiting and obviously confusing to some degree. So it's good to have basically a direct input to ask these sorts of questions. So thank you for that.
Yes, that's why we are heavily using the metaphors of your body, because there is a symbolism also on this, because you are cells in God's body, literally. Hence, it is easier for us to use the body metaphors.
Yep. Thank you.
That has been really great. I just want to touch base with the time. It's been an hour and 42 minutes in the session. I would like to know from now on.
All right, we would like to give this channel some rest. We could have taken more questions, but this is enough for today. We will answer some more in our next transmission, The Realms of Angel, where you can ask more questions about the realm of angels, and also there you can ask some of your personal questions. we wanted this session to at least clarify some of the concepts about us, because this will reach more people easily. We wish you a very good day and good luck.
Thank you.
Good day.
Wow. This was like a huge, like a longest.
Yes, it was long. That's right. We got to ask a lot of questions.
That was a cracker of a session.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was so good. Really interesting.
Yeah,
What
I
made
love
it interesting? I thought
body.
maybe the metaphors were like too technical.
No, it was, I think, because we understand the body, like we are a body. So it's so easy to really understand. It was great.
Yeah, it was fascinating. Yeah.
What was like the key moments, like the aha moments for you?
I mean, there were a lot for me.
Yeah, there was many for me too. I think just to understand it in the context of a body, you know, and the different functions, kind of it makes it very clear, really. I mean, I'm sure a lot is missing in the because of human terms and that, but from our consciousness point of view, it helps to understand it like that.
There
I
were
think for
so many
me,
words. Yeah.
I was going to say, I think for me, it was when he was talking about clarifying, because the mind controls a lot of what we do because of all the interaction. And so for me, when he talked about clarifying, that's what this session did for me. It clarified those concepts so they weren't like little mice running around in my head anymore. Like, what about this? What about that? How does this work? How does that work? So mechanicalistically, like with the body, it allowed me to sort of clear those old beliefs, somebody else's beliefs out, because then I could ask direct questions and get
Yeah.
that full, not
Yeah.
a full understanding, but get the understanding at the level I'm at right now. And it's a platform to the next session, to the next session. And I think that's what they're after anyway, is we're expanding from session to session to session. And you guys are just amazing.
Look,
You
I have to
guys
say
just,
something too.
I'm getting goosebumps all over. You guys
Great.
just blow me away. And the way we interact is just phenomenal. I love it.
Some of the things that was said really got my brain juices going as well for next time, because there was that Archangel Michael touched upon, like what you know, that they have another evolutionary step. So
Yeah.
I want to explore that, because they must exist outside of time, and yet their his perspectives was from a place which isn't, I mean, there is no such thing as completion, but it's like there's another step which would to me indicate some form of time from one step to the others. So I wanted to, I'll explore that next time.
Interesting.
I absolutely love the question about the one outside the universe. Like, is there a system outside? That
Oh,
was a
yeah.
fab question. Like, absolutely fabulous.
Yeah. Another thing that made me understand very easily about how this angel help works, he explained, like, think about it happens organically. It's not something, it is like as soon as there is a need, it is like the positive, the negative, call the positive. So it's not really like, it is like an organic reaction type of thing.
It's like automatic, just like it happens in the body. There are polarities created in the charges between the cells, and it's just the information flows automatically. It's like automatic. It's like a chemical reaction.
That's so interesting. Brilliant.
We have the tendency of put everything here in our mind as, you know, categorizing and dividing and like explaining, and now I feel like we're back to bringing all together and understanding this like
A whole
reaction relationship, that everything relates to everything, and it brings back to the body. And we've been working this theme about
the body.
because the body is so wise, is like a replica of the whole universe.
Well,
So
we
is
are.
the universe
Exactly.
shaped like a body?
Yeah. In a sense, we're a microcosm, though, aren't we?
Or micro, yeah,
Yes.
like the cell is a
Yeah.
replica of the whole, but like in a micro. So we are a reflection.
And
of
I am
the whole.
noticing a theme that the Lemurians talk about mastering the body, like the physical body, and they are more like granular on the human level, whereas Archangel is more like God's body,
Yeah, yeah.
but still the body,
Body.
and we are the cells. So one
Yeah.
is working within, one is working outside. So it's like I'm getting goosebumps on my legs.
See, to me, that's what the definition of holographic is.
Yeah.
When you've got a holographic or fractal's probably a better word, the
Yeah.
fractal nature of the thing, because the smallest bit is the same when you blow it
Same
up.
as the bigger,
It's,
exactly.
yeah, there's no
Exactly.
difference. And we
Exactly.
humans make a difference, and that's
Yeah,
where
we divide everything. We like to
You
divide
summarized
like,
it so well, Vincent. This is exactly what he was saying. Like it's always a hologram, even at the like the minutest level, it's the same. It's at the macro level, it's the same. It's a body. And
Yep.
like there are smaller structures, but each small structure is the same thing as a big structure. And it's like a universe within a universe, and within a universe, within a universe, within a universe. Like,
and it's
like
interesting how he said, like, if you know, you have a little something hurting, everything is gonna feel that. It's not, it is like an automatic, yeah, you know.
yeah, this is, I think this is what even at a soul level you'll be able to I don't remember, was it one of my transmission or is it something I heard some other channeler say? I think it was Rayok, where he was saying that when you have some calamities in some other part of the world, for the soul, it is still part of the body. So the soul is hurting. You physically don't know that because you have not gone to that level of consciousness, but for the soul, it is hurting. It's like its body is hurt. So this is exactly what he clarified today. Like if we are hurting, well, the entire body is hurting. It's not like we are going to be ignored. We are going to be taken care of because it affects the entire system. And that puts so much into perspective because it helps us realize that how much our personal pain affects the greater system.
Yeah. Well, we go through
We
stars.
are, right? With the angels and archangels, we're like so connected to them, and at the same time we think that if they're far, right? Like
You've heard the thing that like if someone may be experiencing here can affect a star the other side of the universe.
Yeah. Because it is connected, like it's not separate. It's like clearing out the concept of connection on different levels. It's like I don't even have words to describe it. It was mind-blowing.
And I love the way that you explained about the negative, the beliefs, you know, how much we throw their help away because there is a belief that doesn't allow that frequency to match. And by him saying that, a lot of like my beliefs came up. One of them are like, oh, I don't want to bother the angels.
And this is why they keep saying that ask even if it is the smallest of help. Don't hesitate or don't feel like, oh no, this will not be answered. They say go ask for even the granular most level.
I don't ask for help because I think, oh my God, the archangels are dealing with much bigger things. Why I'm gonna ask them to like?
That is why you need to remove that belief.
Yeah.
So that is why they are saying that we are helping, but you're rejecting silently and you're not even aware of it. So hence work on your beliefs.
Yeah. And then he said, but if you have the belief that the beliefs are not going to be worth it, like you're like creating your own trap, you know. It's so funny.
Just on the James, when you said, you affect a star at the other side of the universe, Bashar talked at one stage about the single atom analogy of the universe, where there's only one
Yeah.
atom or one particle in the universe, and it
Mm.
goes, it flies around at infinite speed because it's got no mass. And
Yeah.
the analogy that works for me was, you remember those? Did you guys ever do where you put tacks on a flat board and then got one piece of string and went over and over to make a pattern? Did you guys ever do any of that? No?
Like,
Have a look it
uh-huh.
up. They're called string things, but you'd put sort of like a circle of tacks and then you get one piece of string and you start at one and you go up here, go down there, go down there, go down there, up there. And what Bashar said is where the particle crosses over itself, and this is just the analogy for humans, a bit like the body, but it creates the atoms. That's how individuals or atoms created. You got this one particle that crosses over itself that many times
Yeah.
that it creates a solid particle, but it does it at an infinite speed because there's nothing
Yeah.
else. So
And the more it sort of it can kind of increase the intensity in a given coordinate, as it were, and not literally weight, but it sort of, that's what causes the densification process, as I understand it as well.
yeah.
And
And
it also,
so what they're describing, like Archangel was, is that they don't have the words because they see it at such a different level. So they don't have the words to explain it to us, and hence the body analogy. I had to laugh, Moumita, because you're sitting there when he's saying, I'll just have to see what the channel's got, and he's going, mm. It was fantastic. Cracked me up,
So
running through
I
your memory.
Yeah, I think images were coming to me during that time. Like, I was actually surprised he's heavily using metaphors so much. I think no other being used so much metaphor as him because he's explaining concepts outside of our realms because we are asking those kinds of questions. So when he was looking for metaphors, I was getting multiple images, and it's like one image came, swipe left, another image, swipe left, another image, swipe left. No, this is not the one. 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 And I'm like going, and at the same time, I'm having so much heavy. So whenever Archangel comes, like my entire body is flooded with so much energy. If I don't release excess energy, I start getting body aches. So I already started getting neck aches. So I was like moving my neck that way during the transmission. And during this process, it's like he's like literally searching my entire head, and the images are coming and being furiously swiped. No, not this, not this, not this, not this, not this, not this. So
That's
that was
it's like a computer, almost like, right?
yeah.
He's
And eventually he settled on that ice cube and that the water vapor analogy. And even then he was not happy, but like the image stayed like that for a long time, and then it's like, okay, it still doesn't do justice, but we are going to use it because we can't find anything better. And they
I
were being
wonder,
very careful about the things that they use, because I had certain other images come up which were very technical, like something related to my technical job that I used to do. But I realize now why he rejected that, because I mean, people who are not from my field will not understand that metaphor. So he was choosing metaphors that resonate with most people. I think that's one of the reason why he's using very simplistic things or the body analogy a lot. I think that could also be a reason. I am not sure.
right. I was now when you're talking, I was wondering how much our computer is like a copy of our human body as a machine, you know, like an outside, really rough representation of us, you know.
That's what Hort said, right? Hort treats the body as technology.
The body is a machine, yeah. So I wonder how much.
And he says, get an upgrade, get an upgrade.
Computer, you know. Meaning,
Yeah, that was interesting too.
right?
I was going to say that was interesting too, because when the question was asked about the silicon structures for the hybrid kids, what that was the last one. That was Arcturians, wasn't it? That and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
said that it was allowed a greater expansion of those abilities like teleportation or whatever else. And then so I thought that's a limit as well. Because if we are source energy, we can do anything. We're not limited by a silicon body. So what I came up with, us four, because we're doing it, we're a new species. We're a new species because we're thinking outside the box. And I don't know if there's very many people on the planet are doing that. I reckon we're breaking new ground. And that's why the Galactic Federation, for example, is going, oh no, we've got to stop these guys. They're going to get ahead of us. We can't let them beat us. I reckon that's what they're scared of. And that's why they're giving
No, no,
humanity
no,
such
no,
a
no.
hard time.
No, no. As far as
Anyway,
I
that's
know,
just
at
me.
least, no, I mean, I just wanted to, I mean, again, this is my understanding. Usually, like beings at that level don't need to have agendas like that, because at that level, they realize everything is a part of you. So why will you cut off your own hand? Because the hand is your part. If you cut it off, then you are the ones who's going to suffer. So they operate from that level of consciousness. So diminishing us will not help them, and that is something they
You're talking about
understand
the
that.
archangels now. The
No, not
archangels?
no. Even those beings who are at least the high vibrational beings who are part of the Galactic Federation, this is my understanding that they are operating from that level, which is why they come to help us. This is my
Well, I don't know.
understanding.
I reckon they've got their own agenda. Personally, it feels to me like they've got their own agenda. Because otherwise, why have we got the matrix? Why are they maintaining the matrix? Why don't they allow us to do it? I mean, they often talk about the prime directive, you can't mess with primitive civilizations. And again, it depends on who you listen to, but it's a question, sort of a hottie question for me. It's like, or even the Arcturians, because they've got
But this is
the
something
Archangel
Bashar
said that,
already said, right? Like he was, sorry to interrupt. He was saying, right, like Bashar, that the reason they don't interfere is because we become more, was it Bashar? Like we become more dependent on them, and then instead of evolving, we are like giving our power away. Something like
Yeah,
that,
and
I think.
yeah, and as
yeah,
well, we want to do it ourselves.
yeah,
We
yeah.
want to
But
have
what I'm
credit,
saying is,
you know.
there's a control. The Archangel said he doesn't have that polarity or whatever, so they don't filter like we do. And if you're in a consciousness below that, I don't know what the level of that is, from Archangel to, say, the Andromedans to the Arcturians to the Basharians to us. There's some graduation, I suppose. So I mean, that's another question for all those guys: is what limiting belief do you guys have? Because otherwise, anyway, it doesn't matter. It's just one of those weird questions that. I reckon we're pushing boundaries here, guys. I reckon we're doing a fantastic job myself. Good on us.
Yeah,
Moumita, I've got a quick question for you.
yeah.
So
Wait
you,
1 second. I'll stop the recording. I forgot I haven't today.